Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today's video is my August favorites, and I've also got a fail as well. Most of it is makeup, but I've also got 2 or 3 skincare items as well. And one of the fails is a Chanel product. But I'm going to start off with makeup, and let's talk about the Chanel Fall. This was a beautiful collection. This had the Cocoa Bloom lipsticks. It also had a couple of blushes, the loose eyeshadows, and it also had nail polishes as well. The blushes were beautiful. There was the coral and there was the mauve one as well. I picked up both of these as well as some other items, and I did a dedicated video on that. I'm wearing one of the blushes today, and that is the mauve one. It is absolutely gorgeous. I have that one in front of me today, and out of the two, this is probably the one that I've been reaching for a little bit more when I'm doing a cooler makeup look like the one that I'm wearing today. The formula of this is just beautiful. These are fairly pigmented, so today I just used a rapid brush. It's more dense than some of the other brushes I've got, so I just tapped very lightly in and just lightly on the cheeks, and it just gives this really beautiful color. I think it is absolutely gorgeous. I also really love the formula of these. I think they blend out absolutely beautifully, and I don't find that they emphasize the texture on my face at all. I think they are just beautiful. Now, one of the other items in this Chanel Fall collection, this had quite a few, I would say, negative reviews, but it's ended up being one of my favorites from that collection, and those are the loose eyeshadows. I adore them, and I'm wearing one of them today. The one that I'm wearing today is the darkest shade, and that is number 414, and I've put it on the outside corner here. These are just beautiful. You just got to know how to use them, and I don't find really that it takes any extra time either. There's also been some comments about, because the applicator on this is so small, it won't reach to the bottom, but you don't need to worry about that. All you need to do is shake the little bottle that it comes in, and the bottle itself is just absolutely gorgeous. And then you can tap it off by doing that, or in my video, how I also do it is you press it along the inside, just like you would with a nail polish, and that presses the pigment into the applicator, and I can go straight from the applicator right on to my eye, and I don't get any fallout doing it this way at all. And then I just grab a brush and then blend it out. I find that these last really well on the eyes. I've worn this shade in particular quite a lot, probably at least half a dozen times since I did the original video on them, and I think they wear beautifully. I think they are super flattering on mature eyes. The formula is really just outstanding. I also picked up out of that collection one of the Chanel nail polishes, and I picked up the one 163, and it's like a sort of a burnt orange. It has some warmth to it, and I'm wearing it on my nails today. I love the shade. I think it is gorgeous. Now, just a while ago when Chanel released their reformulated nail polishes, one of the shades in there was Premier Dame, but it's really not like this one at all. Premier Dame it's like a pink coral. So it's a little bit more cooler. So if I just hold them up, you can see the difference between the two. So the Fall Collection one, number 163 here, and this one is Premier Dame. So there is quite a bit of difference between the two. I think that this one is just a really beautiful shade, and I do tend to wear corals and oranges quite a bit with my nail polish, and I think this is lovely. This is the new formula, so it applies really well, has the longer brush, and it also wears really well. I've had this on, I think this is about my 4th or 5th day of wearing it. I just love the reformulated nail polishes, and this color is really gorgeous. So it was a month for really beautiful blushes, and I decided to pick up a few pieces, about 3 from the Suku collection that was recently launched, and that was for fall. And for me, there were 2 of the 3 products that I picked up that were just sort of stood out more for me than perhaps the eyeshadow quad that I picked up. The eyeshadow quad was really beautiful. They always are from Suku. But the blush was just beautiful. They released 2 blushes, and I picked up, this is number 143. This is the Pure Color Blush formula. And I'm also wearing this today. And how I decided to use it is I just went for this lavender color on the very end, and I used it for a highlight just through here over the top of that Chanel blush. And I think both together look gorgeous. I decided to do that probably about 5 or 6 days ago, and 3 of those days I've been wearing that Chanel blush and also this as a highlighter through here. Now, I don't know whether this is still available. If it is, I will put a link down below. And not only is that colour that I've used today for a highlight really beautiful, you can just use it as a blush on its own as well. But the whole colour story is just gorgeous. We've got this beautiful beige. You can mix them all together, or if you didn't want any lavender that day, you can just go on the side here. These have a beautiful formula. They blend beautifully. The brush that I put it on with today, it was one from the Sonia G collection, one of her travel brushes, and it is undyed goat hair, very soft, and I just applied it using that, and I think it gave a really beautiful finish, but really gorgeous blush from Suku. The other standout product for me in that collection was the Suqqu lipstick. This is, I think it's called the Moisture Rich formula, or the Rich Moisture formula. And the one that I picked up, this is an orange, but it also has a little bit of gold in it as well. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'll just hold it up so you can take a look. And what I love about these lipsticks is that not only are they moisturizing, but they don't have a huge amount of pigment. So you definitely get color, but it's not saturated. And when it comes to more bolder colors like this, well, they're bold for me, I prefer more of a wash of color like this gives. And it has that little bit of, there are those flecks of gold in it, and it is just an absolutely gorgeous shade. And next is Clé de Peau, and they released those really beautiful eyeshadows. I think they're still sold out on the Clé de Peau site. There are some available, I think at Zach's and also at Nordstrom as well. All of the 3 palettes that I picked up are just absolutely beautiful. I picked up the one with the green shades in it. I also picked up the one with the purple in it, and I've done a video on that. And I've also done a video on this one as well. And this is number 1 in Sand Dune. Really gorgeous neutral palette. There is on the bottom left hand side in each of these palettes what they call a primer shade. I don't use it as a primer, I just use my normal primer since I have oily eyelids, but this also goes really beautiful, these what they call the primer shades, also as a highlight as well. The formula of these are gorgeous. They are smooth, they are buttery, they have pigment. They don't emphasize the texture on my eyes, just absolutely beautiful. Now, the purple one that I did the video on, as well as this one in Sand Dune, that one is, I think, was only available at Clé de Peau. If it becomes available at a later date, and I'm sure they will restock, I will post it on my community page and also in my stories as well. But absolutely beautiful eyeshadows. And more Chanel favourites for August, and these dropped in New Zealand, I think it was more towards the beginning of August when I picked up the Byzance collection. And these are the Oversized Illuminating Face Powders, and I picked up 2 of them. I've got the one in Precious Coral. I did a video on this, and I will use it in another video fairly soon for one of my everyday makeup videos. The design on this is beautiful with the interlocking C's, and the shade of this coral is gorgeous. I also picked up the one, I think it's in Pearly White. I've got that in front of me as well, and I'll show that to you. The one in Pearly White is very sparkly and has a little bit of fallout if you're not careful. This one is a different formula, and it is just absolutely gorgeous, and I've used it. And I use it with one of the Chanel Fall blushes, the one Coral, and then I put this over the top as a highlighter. But it is gorgeous, it is smooth, and the shade is just beautiful. So I'll also show you the Pearly White one as well. This one is also beautiful as a highlight, and I'll pop a little bit of this just over the top of the Suqqu blush that I popped on, just so you can take a look. But this is really beautiful, and you can see from around here that you do get that fallout. It is more sparkly. This also goes beautifully over the eyes. I'm just going to take this brush, I'll just wipe it down, make sure all of the Suqqu blush is gone, and I'll just swipe it over here, and I'll just add a little bit more on my cheekbone through here. So it's going to be quite bright, and you definitely get that sparkle. So you can see where I use the lavender blush shade from the Suqqu. It definitely has a sheen and highlight, but with the Chanel you definitely get more of that bling. I think that this does blend out really beautifully, and I've put a little bit more on than I normally would for the video, just so that you can see, but it is really gorgeous. And as I was saying, it goes beautifully on the eyes as well. So I'll put some on the other side just so that it matches, but it blends out really lovely. And I think this is really gorgeous, especially with the holidays coming up, just to have that extra bit of sparkle. Now the sparkle in it isn't chunky in any way. It still blends really beautifully into the skin. It's just that you get more of a highlight. So if you're into a really subtle type of highlight, then this one probably isn't for you. I also love the chain pattern on this as well. Both highlighters, different formulas, but I love them equally, and I'm pleased to have both of them in my collection. And I do get some questions asking about these Chanel highlighters and when they are going to be released in the US. The truth is, I don't know. I have heard that maybe it may be around holiday time, and apparently these aren't going to be released in the UK either. But when it comes to Chanel, they can be a bit random about where they drop certain products in certain countries. But again, as soon as I know that they are available in the US, I will be posting it to my community page and also my Instagram as well. So next is more Chanel, and this is the Chanel Byzance, and they had the 4 quads. Now, the 2 lighter quads in this collection are definitely my favorites. So the one that I've got today, and this is the one Cristal, and this is gorgeous. This shade here has that blue shift to it, and that's what I'm wearing today. So I'm wearing a little bit of the shade. First of all, I started off with the shade here, then I popped a little bit of this through the crease, and then on the very outside I put on that loose eyeshadow, which I absolutely adore that shade. It's got a little bit of purple in it as well. It's really gorgeous. And then through here is the shade here. Now I did wet the brush, and I find that you just get a really beautiful finish, and I put a little bit of the shade here just under here as well. And again, I used, I think it was the Rapha number 3 brush to do that under here, and I wet the brush to pop that on as well. You can use it without wetting the brush, but if you want a little bit more impact, then either wet it with water or a setting spray, either one, and just pat it onto the eyelid, and I think it gives a really beautiful finish. Out of the 4 quads, probably my least favorite would be the Baroque. I think it's the Baroque one. That's the one with the red and the green in it. I did try a look, I think it might have been last week, and not for video, just for my everyday makeup, and mainly used the green shade. And it looked all right, but probably not something that I would reach for with my everyday makeup. But this one and the other one, the 2 lighter quads, they are just absolutely gorgeous. And I think they're all still available on the Chanel site. But like everything else that I'm talking about today, I will have it listed and linked in the description box below. So now let's get on to skincare. And the first one was gifted to me, and this was from Necessaire. And this is the body lotion. This is fragrance free and it has a really beautiful texture. It comes in this cardboard packaging. This lotion is full of skincare ingredients, and also on the back of their packaging they also have, if that interests you, the footprint that they leave in producing the product itself. So this is the packaging that it comes in. It is quite a simplistic white with the black, and I think this looks really lovely. The formula of this is beautiful, and even though I do love body creams, I have the Chanel ones and I have the Dior ones because sometimes I really like to layer fragrance. There's other days where I want a body lotion to put on my arms, and I also use this for my hands as well, although they do have a dedicated hand lotion. But sometimes I just want something that is fragrance free, so I can moisturize my arms and hands, legs, and then I can just pop on the fragrance that I'm going to wear that day. The consistency of this is beautiful. I'll just put a little bit out on my hand now. So it looks quite thick, and I will rub this in. It's going to go over the top of my swatches that I did before. This just goes in beautifully. There is no greasy feeling once it has absorbed, and it actually absorbs very quickly, and I really love the feel that it gives on the skin. It is silky smooth and no stickiness. It really is a beautiful product. Now, included with the ingredients in this, I did mention that it was fragrance free, but it also has niacinamide, which I absolutely love. Niacinamide is a vitamin B3 and is just so good for your skin. This also has vitamin C, vitamin E. It has 2 omegas, omega 6 and 9, and this also has peptides in it as well. I love skincare products, whether it's for my face or my body, that also include peptides. They are a cell communicating ingredient that after consistent use, they promote collagen, and we all want that. I keep this lotion out in the living area in my house just so I can just grab it at any time if I feel like my hands need moisturizing, although I do find with this that the moisturizing effect does last for quite a long time. But also it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, because I've had this for about 5 weeks now, and with skincare I like to be using it at least 4 or 5 weeks just so I can really make up my mind about it, and I do really love this. But it was about last week and my husband reached for it, because sometimes he reaches for a hand lotion if his hands are feeling particularly rough. He won't use anything that has a fragrance in it. So he asked me what lotions I had that didn't have a fragrance in it. So I gave him this one to try, and he really liked it. He liked it because it didn't have that greasy after feeling that some lotions do, particularly ones that are really moisturizing like this one. You do get ones that they just have, it takes quite a while for that greasy feeling to go away after you've first applied them, and sometimes I even have to grab a cloth just to wipe the insides of my hands. But with this one I don't need to do that, and thank you to Necessaire for gifting me this product. I really appreciate it. And next is a skincare product from Chanel, and this one is a fail for me. This is a cleanser, and this is the water to foam cleanser. And how much have I used? About half of it. And it's a product, I will use it all up. It's not that I get a reaction or any bad after effect from it. It's just that they call it the water to foam cleanser, and when I first got this, it pumps out into a foam. It really should be called the foam to water cleanser. So you pump it out and it's a foam, and then I just put it between my hands like I normally do and start to cleanse my face, and the foam disappears quite quickly and turns into a water. This does have the signature Chanel fragrance, and I don't mind that, and I don't find it overpowering in any way, but it just doesn't give... They talk about with keeping things in your house, and it doesn't give you joy then to throw it out. This cleanser really doesn't give me any joy when I'm using it. When I do my skincare at night, I take my time and I either use as a first step an oil or a balm type cleanser, and I've been using this as the second step. And I do take my time at night doing my skincare, and I find it a really enjoyable experience. And not that this is an awful experience in any way, but it just doesn't give, as I was saying, it just doesn't give me really any joy. It is a very average product. Now, one product from Chanel that I haven't bought in full size, and I absolutely love because I keep getting samples from my essay, which I really appreciate. And this is the Sublimage, and this is the gel to oil. And I use this as a first step in cleansing. And this is only the little sample size. This is beautiful. The fragrance is absolutely gorgeous. It's that typical Sublimage scent. But this does come out in gel, just like it says, and as you massage it into your face, it turns into this oil. It removes all makeup. I just find the consistency of this absolutely gorgeous. And as I was saying, I really take my time with my skincare at night. I like it to be a pleasurable experience, and this product definitely gives that. It is really beautiful. I've actually got 2 other tubes left of this, so they're only little samples. I'll see if I can, yep, there is a little bit more in there. So I'll just hold it up, and this is the consistency to begin with. And then once you start massaging it in, it turns into this really, you can see it, it just turns into this really beautiful oil, and it is just an absolutely gorgeous product. And I can smell this now, and it is just so beautiful. So I do have another sample of this, but I'm actually going to save that, and I'm going to take it with me when I go overseas next month, mainly for in-flight. For this, it's about a 10 to 12 hour flight, and you can only take, it's under 100 mils for liquids on the plane, and this is going to be perfect because what I'm going to do, since it is a long flight, once I've had my dinner, I will go and do a full skincare routine on my face, and this is going to be perfect for that. But after I've finished, I think I've only got the 1 other sample size. Once I've finished that, I am going to be buying the full size of this. I think it is gorgeous. Now, Sublimage is on the more expensive side in the Chanel skincare line, but for me, that extra bit that it costs, I think is absolutely worth it. Such a gorgeous product. So those are my favorites and one fail. Which were your favorites? And if you had any fails for the month of August, I'd love to know, and let me know in the comments below. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.